Life as We Know It with Tom Walton.
An acquaintance of mine has a fun hobby. She collects jokes and funny stories and then assembles them into a newsletter she sends out to folks on her mailing list. Invariably, her newsletters are a blend of humorous stories as well as one-liners that you might call groaners and I would call dad jokes, plus a few little anecdotes here and there that are not necessarily funny, but share a worthy message. All she asks in return is that the recipients enjoy the newsletters and maybe, if they feel generous, send her some stamps to use on the next batch. Since the column I write for The Blade and our weekly visits together here on WGTE tend to stress the humor in our daily lives, I thought I'd share a few things from my acquaintance's latest newsletter. She's big on lists, and the newest newsletter does not disappoint in that regard. One of the lists this time is entitled simply, Things to Think About. Here are some of them. If a bottle of poison is past its expiration date, is it more poisonous than before? Or is it no longer poisonous at all? In the word scent, spelled S-C-E-N-T, which letter is silent, the S or the C? What if my dog only brings back the ball because he thinks I enjoy throwing it? You see the trend here? I'm pausing a moment after each one because, well, you do have to think for a second to appreciate the humor or the irony. Here are some more. Why is the letter W in English called W? Shouldn't it be called double V? Every time you clean something, you just make something else dirty. The word swims, spelled S-W-I-M-S, is still S-W-I-M-S when you turn it upside down. Many animals probably need glasses, but nobody knows it. Intentionally losing a game of rock, paper, scissors is just as hard as trying to win. I hadn't thought about that, but that makes sense. Do triplets ever realize that two of them were unplanned? Your future self is watching you right now through memories. I've started CrossFit training. I cross my fingers and hope my pants will fit. Now, I would not suggest that any of these rise to the level of Jerry Seinfeld or Stephen Wright, but they're not bad. Maybe you've heard the one about the elderly lady who asked her doctor, how do you determine whether an older person should be put in an old folks' home? Well, the doctor said, we fill up a bathtub, then we offer the person a teaspoon, a teacup, and a bucket, and ask them to empty the tub. Oh, I see, the lady said. A normal person would use the bucket because it's bigger than the teaspoon and the teacup. No, the doctor replied, a normal person would pull the plug. Do you want a bed near the window? To my friend's funny collection, I would add a few items of my own. Who was the first person to look at a cow and say, I wonder what happens when I pull on those? In that same vein, who was the first person to open an oyster and decide that gooey mess might be good to eat? Finally, let me ask you this. If you try to fail and succeed, which have you done?
Life as We Know It is written and hosted by Tom Walton and is a production of WGTE Public Media. Life as We Know It with Tom Walton can be heard on WGTE FM 91 every Monday afternoon during All Things Considered at 5:44 p.m. Or hear past episodes at WGTE.org/life.